If you want more money, don't ask for a raise at your job, just switch jobs.
This is a free country. Quit! Get out! Stop!
In case you didn't know, one day you will die. And I want to show you why the job that you have that you hate is a waste of your life.
Does that not sound a bit counterintuitive, to leave your job, the place that's your source of income, in order to make more money? Well, it isn't as far-fetched as it sounds because there are some logistics to this. However, the long story short is if you stay in a place for way too long, you will lose potential value in the market for yourself and you will eventually end up losing money because you're stuck in one place. That is why in this video I'm going to be discussing exactly how to increase your potential salary by quitting a job that you might have overstayed your welcome in. So stick around and like and subscribe. Hello everyone, if you are new to the channel I welcome you, and in case you don't know who I am, this is Contract Lancer, a channel for software developers who want to get to that six-figure salary level. It might seem like impossible and not every software developer makes six figures, but I promise you if you follow the advice I give on these videos, you will be able to make it too. I use this very same advice in my daily work as I am personally a contractor. I'm also a consultant for software developers who want to make more money in their careers, and I help them do that as well. But enough of that, let's get back to the video, and I welcome you to the channel. Nice to meet you. In case you have not seen this, here's an article from Forbes detailing what I'm trying to talk to you about. This says that if you stay with an employer for longer than 2 years, you are more than likely making 50% less on average than your peers are going to make. This goes for anyone. If you are a contractor or a W-2 or a freelancer, it doesn't really matter. You stay too long in a company, you might be missing out on some solid dollar. So in this article, it essentially just gives you a graph that says that over the next 10 years, if you just stay in one job, you'll have far less earning potential, about 50% less than if you were to hop around jobs. And I can say that from experience, this is true. The reason why I say it's true because when I worked at a job for about 3 years, I didn't really get that much of a pay raise. I personally only got maybe 3% pay raise, which is actually in line with what the article says, during my time working for a particular company. Now, I was a software developer back then. I was a younger software developer starting out, basically. But, that typically is how it goes with other software developers if you decide to stay with a company for way too long. And obviously, the issue with that is that 3% every year is not really much. You're just essentially keeping up with inflation at that point. So what should you do? Is quitting the answer? And I say, yeah, it is if you do it smartly. So what is doing it smartly? Well, that depends on exactly where you want to go. If you're just starting out, then what you really want is just more experience. So staying in a job a little bit longer isn't as bad as it may seem because you're not really worth too much on the market. If you're just starting out, then you want to get at least 2 years of experience anyway in order for you to start maneuvering around. I would say 3, but according to that article, it's 2 years, so let's just stick with that. I'm just telling you from personal experience, I remained in my job for about 3 years, and I was able to go from the junior level to the mid-level kind of jobs like that. That's how it's typically done. Unless the technology is really, really new, then the senior levels are 5 years and over, mid-levels are 3 years, and then below that is junior levels. Essentially, for software developers, that's about the that's how companies look at it. If, on the other hand, you have much more experience than that, then you can move around and you have a lot of leverage. Speaking of, there's a reason why people do not get the raises they want when they stay in their job. Typically, the company will either give you a small percentage of a raise unless it's promised to you in the beginning, like some sort of bonus, and they give you a rate with that. Even that sometimes doesn't really pan out. Or they just, tell you to go F off. But why is that? So the reason why corporations do not give you the raise that you probably deserve is because you have no leverage. Leverage comes in the form of the amount of power you have over the other side. So unless you are either starting out with an interview and you have a rate on the table, or if you work for a high position or a position that's very difficult to replace, you don't have much leverage once you start working at a job. And then getting promoted from there is not a very good strategy to make the most amount of money you can in the amount of time you have. And that's why that Forbes article is pretty accurate in my opinion. And, it's Forbes. They did some research on that themselves because when you hop from job to job, you already know what rate you're getting. So you're probably always going to be going for the higher and higher rate. Whereas if you stay in a job for longer than those 2 years, you're just going at best the rate of inflation so that your salary keeps up with it. But you're not really getting any significant raise or advantage with it. And the only other thing that you can do to leverage yourself is to actually just get another job. But at that point, once you have that job offer on the table, just take it and quit your job because you don't want to use it as a leverage against the company you're currently working for. All you did was set off a flag that says you were willing to go outside the company, get a job, be able to get a job, and then come back and try to get a better raise because of it. It sounds good on paper, and you might want to just stay with your company because, it's your company. You've been there for a while. You're comfortable. But honestly, doing that is a very good way of putting a giant target on your back and then getting fired somewhere down the line. So if you did that anyway and you got the job, congratulations, just take that higher paying job. So you're probably wondering to yourself, are you in a position to actually quit your job and then find another one and start doing this whole job hopping thing in order to maximize your potential salary, get to that 6-figure salary, and then be happy? Well, you got to ask yourself a few questions. First question is, how much are you worth on the market? Just like in Wall Street and in dating, you have a value to yourself, and there is a certain amount of money you can actually pull with your skill set or with the tech stack that you've chosen. So you have to first figure out what that is. If you're starting out and you just are a junior between 1 and 2 years of experience, your leverage isn't that good, but you can still find something that pays you more than what you're getting paid now. I'd expect between $70,000 and $80,000 if you're at that 2-year mark, maybe a little bit higher if you're lucky, depending on the tech stack. If you have a really new tech stack that's getting like very in demand, like Python or something, you might get more. The second thing is to understand whether or not you're ready to quit the job. Personally, you just wait till you get a job offer and sign on the dotted line while you're still working. That's typically the way people do it, and it's a very simple strategy, but it works. The final thing you have to ask yourself is if you are ready to accept the risks. Doing this is kind of risky because, you're hopping from one stable position to an unknown position, but you're doing it knowing that you will get more money at the end of the day. This is something that's kind of hard to swallow for most people. Some people like stability, some others are willing to take the risks. And in my experience, I think taking the risk is always worth it, especially if you're a young person, especially if you're just starting out. If you take the risk and actually go out there and start job hopping, you will get much more experience faster in different technologies, and you'll be exposed to more things as well. You will run into the actual in-demand technologies much more often by getting more jobs, obviously. And you'll also increase your pay rate where other people might be stagnant. So obviously, the caveat here is that the next job that you get might not work out. That's happened to me too. I left a very stable job for a risky job for more pay, and then I get fired within 1 month or 2 months for whatever reason. That sucked, but here is how I would handle it if I were you. If you do not have any savings whatsoever, you don't have at least 3 months of savings that could handle all your expenses, more than that would be better, then don't do this job hopping thing just yet. You don't know how it's going to turn out, so might as well play it safe. 3 months isn't that big of a deal, isn't that much time. So if you can start saving up for those 3 months that you could do the job hopping, you'll have a nice little pool that will not allow you to get desperate and take any job that you can get. And you'll continue, having the right attitude when you approach the interview. I think I'll leave the video here, guys. I believe that this advice is great for the times because it is 2021 and it is the time where people are trying to move around. Right now, companies are hiring like crazy and software developers are, as always, in demand in the market, especially right now because, what happened last year? That year. That crappy year. Anyways, anyhow, this is Contract Lancer. I hope you enjoyed the advice. I hope you got something out of it. And if you are interested in some free consulting, check out my website right here. And it's going to be in the description below. Please like and subscribe again. I love you all. Yes, I do. All 20 of you. See you later. Bye-bye.